Hi guys, my name is Dr. Lee Sung. Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if I told you that the medication sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, the one your doctor prescribed to keep you healthy, could also be quietly affecting something very personal, your sexual function, and most men never even connect the dots. This is not about fear, and it's definitely not about blaming medication. It's about understanding how complex the human body really is, and how something designed to help one system can sometimes create unintended effects in another. Because erections are not just a physical event, they are the result of a very precise coordination between the brain, the nervous system, blood vessels, hormones, and even emotional state. Everything has to align at the right moment, in the right way. It usually starts in the brain. A thought, a feeling, a stimulus, something triggers a response. The brain sends signals through the spinal cord and nerves, telling the blood vessels in the penis to relax. When that relaxation happens, blood flows in, becomes trapped, and that pressure creates an erection. But if anything interferes with that chain, even slightly, the entire process can become weaker, slower, or inconsistent. Now here's where medications come into the picture. Some common prescription drugs, even the ones used every day for blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol, can sometimes influence blood flow, nerve signaling, or hormone balance. Not because they are dangerous in themselves, but because the body systems they act on are deeply connected with sexual function. For example, medications that lower blood pressure work by calming the cardiovascular system, reducing strain on the heart and blood vessels. That is a huge benefit for long-term health. But at the same time, that same calming effect can sometimes reduce how strongly blood vessels in the penis respond when sexual stimulation happens. And since strong blood flow is essential for an erection, even a small change can be noticeable for some men. Then there are cholesterol-lowering medications, widely used across the world, because they significantly reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. They protect the arteries, improve long-term cardiovascular health, and save millions of lives. But cholesterol is also involved in hormone production, including testosterone. So when cholesterol levels are heavily reduced in some individuals, there can sometimes be subtle shifts in hormone balance, which may influence libido or sexual performance. It's important to understand this does not happen to everyone. And when it does, it is usually mild and manageable. Even something as common as daily aspirin has been studied in relation to sexual function. Aspirin affects blood flow and clotting, which is why it is often used for heart protection. But blood vessel signaling in the penis depends heavily on fine-tuned circulation and nitric oxide pathways. So in some cases, long-term use has been discussed as a possible factor in subtle changes in erectile response. Now with diabetes medication like metformin, the picture becomes more complex, because diabetes itself is one of the strongest causes of erectile dysfunction. High blood sugar damages blood vessels, and over time, it can affect the nerves that control sexual response. So controlling diabetes is absolutely essential for protecting sexual health in the long run. But metformin has been associated in some cases with reduced vitamin B12 absorption, and vitamin B12 is important for nerve health and proper nerve signaling. Since erections rely heavily on nerve communication, any disruption there can matter over time. Some research also explores possible effects on testosterone levels, but this area is still being studied and is not fully conclusive. So again, this is not about alarm, it is about awareness. Because what often gets missed is this. It is rarely just one factor. It is usually a combination of health conditions, medications, stress levels, sleep quality, and lifestyle habits all interacting together. And one of the biggest mistakes men make is assuming they have to silently accept these changes. But that is not true. Stopping medication on your own is never the answer, and in many cases, it can be dangerous, because the conditions these drugs treat, high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, are far more harmful to your body than most side effects. Untreated diabetes can permanently damage nerves. High blood pressure can silently damage arteries for years. High cholesterol can slowly block blood flow to vital organs. And all of these conditions can directly worsen erectile function if left uncontrolled. So in many cases, the medication is not the problem. It is actually protecting you from a much bigger problem. But here's the important part. If you are noticing changes, you should not ignore them. There are often solutions. Sometimes a doctor can adjust the dose, sometimes switch to a different medication, sometimes check hormone levels, vitamin levels, or circulation health. And sometimes small lifestyle changes can make a massive difference. Regular exercise improves blood flow. A balanced diet supports vascular health. Good sleep helps regulate hormones. And stress management plays a much bigger role than most people realize, because stress directly affects both blood flow and sexual performance. And there's one more thing you should never forget. Erectile function is often like an early warning system. It can sometimes signal changes in cardiovascular health long before more serious symptoms appear. That means paying attention to it is not just about sexual health, it is about overall health. So if you take anything from this, let it be this. Do not panic, do not stop medication on your own. But do not ignore the signals your body is giving you either. There is almost always a path forward, and it starts with awareness, honesty, and the right medical guidance. Because the goal is not just to treat disease, the goal is to protect your health, your confidence, and your quality of life in the long run. If you found this helpful, take a moment to think about your own health. And if anything feels off, speak to a qualified healthcare professional. And if you want more clear, science-based breakdowns like this, make sure to stay informed, because understanding your body is one of the most powerful tools you will ever have.